The new Fallout 76 expansion. And yes, this for all intensive purposes was made to be an expansion, so stop calling it just an update. But in any case, this expansion is so bad that even the most stout defenders of Fallout 76 are broken and cannot defend it.
I swear, between the hat and the hoodie, I am dressed like it's 2005. And today, we're talking about a game that certainly didn't launch from that year, because when games were launching back then, they may have not been the best, but they were content complete. Today, we're talking about a live
Oh, that was a sick burn, though. Oof. That's gonna leave a scar.
service game, my favorite, Fallout 76. We've talked about this game extensively on the channel. Now we really just dip in for every major new update, and I dip in every time with the hopes of loving this product because I adore Fallout. I have the Fallout bug. The new TV show is upon us soon on
Oh, the new TV show is gonna be absolutely horrendous. Everyone should understand and know that, sadly.
April 11th. All of the episodes are going to drop. I cannot wait. But this update isn't just any update. And kudos to Bethesda for sticking with this game, because anytime I feel 76 is on its last legs, I've made videos straight up saying I think the game is dead now, and I've been completely wrong. And Bethesda in 2023, I felt the commitment was starting to waver, but I had learned my lesson at that point. And in 2024, they have stormed back with some pretty massive content additions. Today's update, as I said, wasn't just any update. It's the America's Playground update, finally introducing for the first time in the game's lifespan a brand new open world explorable area to add on to Appalachia. So it's no longer just that base game map and expeditions where you go out and kill enemies. You can finally roam these areas, interact with NPCs, pick up quests, hopefully find some dungeons, all of that cool stuff, right? So walking away from this experience now, I can say for sure that I have had this spiritual awakening with 76 and realized that no matter what this game does, I don't think I'm going to be happy, because it always feels like it's a half step away from where...
Yeah, it's really bad, because the reality of this game is, you know, you look at something like Suicide Squad and you can instantaneously say the shooting's bad. Bruh, in 76 it's even worse. It's actually a miracle how many play, because there's still like 2 or 3K players playing this game. It's a miracle so many people have absolutely that much nothing better to do with their lives. It's honestly crazy in my opinion, because the shooting in this game is just beyond bad. I don't think anyone has after playing 10 hours of this, I don't think anyone has ever shot a single shot in this game without using VATS. And it just doesn't happen. Okay? It just doesn't happen. It's crazy. It's completely insane. Everything about this game is on some fundamental level sad.
Where it needs to be. And in some ways, this update has really surprised me. The quality bar is definitely starting to raise for 76, although I know the standards for many are low. I know it's an easy target, but I think as someone who has played the game since its launch, really tried to hang with it, I feel like you can see the efforts there, but what I'm noticing is the game is big enough to sustain, but not enough to invest and try to push its growth. It very much knows its place, and so I have just come to that level of acceptance that 76 is not going to do any more than I hope it will. And I'll continue to circle around for those updates, but America's Playground taught me something really important. And it's not one of those typical, Maddie, the update's not quite there yet. No, it's more like there are good things here, but they just missed the mark slightly.
I mean, I don't think it matters how much updates do they do, because yeah, what he said is completely on point. Everything Fallout 76 does is missing the mark. They add something, it's kind of not that bad, right? But then you play it and it completely misses the mark. When this game launched, it didn't have NPCs, if you remember. It had just a bunch of bugs. A lot of seriously unbelievable amount of bugs. It was hilarious. But then, at some point, Bethesda decided, wait a minute, do people actually want NPCs? Who would have expected that? And they added NPCs. But these NPCs were boring. The only thing these NPCs did was remove the thing that not having NPCs in your game does. It creates this feeling of loneliness. You know, when you're just traveling, there's nothing to find, maybe a robot. You kind of got this feeling of depression playing Fallout 76, because you knew that at no point Are you actually gonna come another human? And in this human, in this situation, the human was supposed to be a friendly NPC. That was never gonna happen. That maybe you're gonna play with other players, but other than that, if you're not doing that, it's just a depression simulator because you never find anyone else. The world is as hollow as it can be. And then they added NPCs. And these NPCs did literally nothing but slightly alleviate this feeling of lonesomeness. And that's it. But other than that, the NPCs completely failed to achieve anything else.
Explain why. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you're new here and you're into whatever's going on with Fallout, we're going to be talking a lot about it in April, that's for sure. Ladies and gentlemen, consider subscribing if you like all Fallout content. So 76, I'm hoping with this video that you walk away with a lot more information than many provide on this game, because I feel it's an easy one to kick while it's down, right? It had the horrendous launch. It barely crawls out of 20.
Well, that's a bad defense because it has always been down, so it always has been easy to kick technically. It has never gotten up.
18 and 19 alive. In 2020, you get Wastelanders, and it felt like it was a window. The masses had started to believe again.
No.
It felt like this was an answer to what Bethesda needed to do for 76 in the first place, which was make an online PvE game effectively. And each update since then has added to that. They've focused more and more on PvE content, more and more on questing. And so here with America's Playground, we finally get our first open world area, something I've been asking for since the game really first came out. It seemed like such an obvious thing to do. Now, before this, we last talked about 76 in December and how they introduced new expeditions to the game. And these, for those who have never played 76, are gigantic raids, effectively. They're shooting galleries, and this was definitely the prettiest one that 76 had produced. You can say what you will about this game, but I will always defend its art direction. Anytime I fire this game up, I am pulled into that world, and certainly when it comes to Atlantic City and its music and its appearance, the neon signs, everything about it, the New Orleans.
I am not, though, pulled. I mean, New Vegas does a decent job at creating a world. Fallout 3 does a decent job at creating a world. Fallout 3 does kind of decentish job. 76 feels discombobulated. It doesn't feel like it's following any kind of rule set for how this world is made. It feels like one place, even though it's right next door, is completely different from the other place, which makes no sense.
Feel like they really nailed it. So being able to explore that initially was awesome. The quest starts off with you going to one of the many train stations, reading about this little show that's going on at this opening bar. So you head over to the bar. You have probably one of the most hilarious openings to a Fallout quest I have seen.
Shoot her.
I can't listen to this baloney no more. Let's light this place up.
God damn it! Everyone stop!
Oh, he actually did.
Like, this dude just...
And then she spazzed out. And yeah. And he's not paying attention. And nothing seemingly is happening. Didn't he say he's gonna light this place up, aka kill everyone, most likely? What's going on?
Like, this dude just...
And there's no combat? Or none of these dots are red. I am so confused.
Like, this dude just had it. He was not feeling the music here. And so I authentically laughed at that for a couple minutes. I thought that was some great stuff there.
I'm
and
confused.
From there, you learn that one of the Russos is hooked on the devil's blood. This is a brand new chem that was introduced in Atlantic City, and the only way to get off it is to get some in your system. And so you head out to Atlantic City. You're dropped into the casino district, which is one of multiple areas that you can explore in this game. And I did expect them to reuse the maps they had built for expeditions, but the problem really is in how they've structured the content. Again, one thing I'll always defend with 76 is its exploration. I would even go to the length of saying 76's exploration is better than Starfield's. I really do think they have something here in 76.
Yeah. I mean, all exploration in any game, even games that don't offer exploration, is probably better than 76. That is really, really not a high bar to achieve.
76, where the wandering is good, the point A to point B is good, as you would in a Bethesda Game Studios game. You see something in the distance that looks unique and interesting, and you go ahead and visit it, check it out, and you're like, oh man, thank God I explored that. And 76 has a lot of those moments, so to bring that to a new location was very exciting because it reminded me of Fallout.
Yeah, 76 still does have a lot of those locations, and it does. That is the Fallout thing, right? And it does that. But, I mean, the locations are just kind of boring. There's nothing really in most locations. They're just generic as they can be.
3 and its DLC, New Vegas and its DLC, and the potential those brought to the table. And here in Atlantic City, I already knew the art direction is going to be great, so it's just about adding locations to explore. So there's no new map markers. You don't have these new moments of discovery. There's not even a isolated map for this area, which was already a little concerning when I opened it up, because I thought, well, isn't the point to go and see new dungeons and interact with new people and track new quests? So you do have this main quest to track. There are a few side quests also that you can track. But when I went into this one area that was a bar that hosts the family, that's where I started to have that awakening of, man, 76 is always just a half step away. You walk into this, what I would say is a beautiful bar, fully populated. You can hear all the chatter around. It's very full of life. Again, that noir feel is captured excellently here, as it has been throughout all of Atlantic City. But it's just a bunch of nameless NPCs. There's no interaction. I go and talk to one interesting named individual at the top of the bar, and I get to ask him a few questions about the family, and that's nice and all, but there's no quest pickups. There's no interesting moment here, and you realize, oh, this is just a host probably for later main story content. Okay, got it. So you leave, you go on your merry way, and all of these maps that you've already played through, thanks to the expeditions, are connected through sewer grates. So yeah, you click on one and it zips you to the other, and it's as jarring as it sounds. You can tell this was maybe not a part of the original plan. They thought, well, hey, we can reuse these. And the reason this is a little disappointing is because, yes, it's cool in premise, but what it says to me is that my initial gut feeling about 76 and how they were handling the content rollout here was correct, which was when they told us, oh, we have these expeditions, and then we're going to give you America's Playground later because we have so much to give you. I thought to myself, I don't know about that, because right now 76...
Man, when Starfield comes out and everyone's pissed that there's no city map, and you're like, yeah, you know what we're going to do with 76? Also not add a city map. But, there's no real city as much as I understand here. It's super small, so... It's very small. This was supposed to be a big thing. It was literally marketed like an expansion, because again, it's free, but it's effectively an expansion. And no, I guess.
6 needs an abundance of content. If you have it, you should probably give it. And since they were expanding the base game map, where I imagine most of their resources were going there, I felt that this update was gonna potentially feel more like this sort of shot in the arm, like, hey, it's something, right? And it's exactly that, right? Like, even though you can roam, not knowing where you're roaming to, no map markers or anything like that, very few quests and interesting NPCs to interact with, it feels hollow, unfortunately. And it has like the life there, but no one of intrigue to really interact with.
Yeah, again, everything kind of feels hollow. When I remember I tried to play the game and they introduced, NPCs, I played it and I'm like, okay, now there's a bandit camp here and I have a choice. Do I want to join them or kill them? And, I mean, Bethesda fundamentally no longer understands why these choices matter. Because just giving you a choice, do you want to join X or do you want to join Y, is boring, useless, and garbage. Garbage in general, okay? That's just how it is, and that's just how it works. And the reason why it is garbage and so bad and no one likes just options like this is because, well, look at what made Fallout New Vegas so successful. Fallout New Vegas was so successful, and to a degree Fallout 4 was also successful because it had factions, and these factions had goals. They were different from each other. Each faction had its strong sides, its weak sides, its morality, its everything. Fallout 4 had a lot less of that one. No one even knows what the Institute honestly was supposed to do in Fallout 4. But, still, at least some factions, even though in Fallout 4 they were literally autistic because they made no sense when you looked into them, at least there was kind of a premise of what this faction does, and if you join it, what you stand for or whatever. But here it's like, do you want to join the bad guys? Yes? Good, you're the bad guy now. What does that mean? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know why I'm supposed to care about the people I'm helping. I don't know why I'm supposed to care about the people I'm killing. And then I can join them? It's like, why? What does this accomplish even? And this is essentially what they added in Fallout 76. They added just shitty options without explanations why they matter.
Now, the main quest itself is entertaining. You head to this show, you dress up as a clown, you can have a choice here whether or not you want to kill someone to send a message.
That is very on point that they make you dress like a clown, because if you want this, you're absolutely toast. And you are a clown.
And it changes your quest ending. You fight off, in my case, a bunch of clowns because I chose to kill this guy instead of teaching him a lesson in another way. Overall, the questing in 76 has become much better, not just from an enjoyment and playful sense, but also like even voice acting. I thought that it was
Kill clown, choose kill option. Guess what? You have to fight people because you killed. No, this is not interesting writing. These are not consequences, okay? These are like momentary things that happen. These are not real consequences for your actions.
Performed, whereas that was something I was critical of with Expeditions. And here in 76's update for America's Playground, I thought they actually did a better job making these characters feel lifelike. So much so that the voice performances were starting to shine a stronger light on how dated the engine is and how, wow, they really need to have some updated facial animations for these characters that are much more expressive, which is something I typically don't say about Bethesda Game Studios games. So I think that is saying something about the vocal performance here. Yeah, the questing is great, but it's like if you're going to bring in this new open world zone, you've got to fill it with life. You got to make these NPCs more interactable. You have to feed more quests into them, produce new allies that you can bring back to your camp. The loot here is pretty cool. They have a lot of that figured out since the Nuka World on Tour update, which I was very complimentary of. But as you can see here, little things here and there, like overall the enjoyment, yeah, it was had. Like, I didn't hate my time here, but I definitely walked away with this almost spiritual awakening, if you will, of going, man, this game just may never satisfy me. And I know what you're thinking. You've probably rolled your eyes or scoffed at your phone, wherever you're listening to this on, and go, oh my God, you're just realizing this now, dude. But here's the thing, right? I don't think it's a surprise to anybody that I love Fallout. I'm a gigantic fan of the franchise, and 76 is kind of the bane of my existence at certain times with how it's treated, why it's out.
Yeah, dude, 76 is on the edge, you know, of there are games that are bad that you want to just shit on nonstop. For example, Starfield. And then there are games that are so bad you don't even want to talk about them. And Fallout 76 is on the edge because it's exactly that bad, but at the same time, you play it and you understand, man, I can spend 40 hours on this relatively simply, but it's a bad experience. And you understand that there's so little missing here that would actually make this a good game. But then again, I think it's the core gameplay that's the problem for 76, not any kind of additives at this point. It's like Suicide Squad killed the Justice League. You add an expansion, you add a Joker, well, good luck. Your game's still garbage because all everything in the game that's basically in there is just bad. And same as with 76. It's kind of Fallout, you kind of feel it, but at the same time, it's just missing so much of the Fallout charm, you know? And no update is gonna fix it because it's the base game that needs to change. How it plays, how you experience it, and whatnot.
Operating, and the conclusion I came to is this. Fallout 76 is making enough money and having a big enough player base to sustain itself with updates like America's Playground.
Yeah.
But it is not big enough and growing enough to push the envelope a little bit and do something big and exciting.
Yeah, it's essentially never gonna get players back. You know, Some players are going to download it maybe at a point of desperation. Maybe I will download it in a year or something like that. You know, depends on what happens, right? Because I'm super bored and there's nothing to play, you know, and play it for a little bit. But I'm not going to buy anything, obviously. You know, it's never going to really get new players.
And over deliver. You always get either exactly what you expected with 76, or in my case, typically a little bit less. And experiencing that over and over and over in these 2, 3, 4 hour pockets as I keep re-downloading the game, hoping this update is the moment I can sit in a video and go, Fallout 76 is fantastic. This is the direction. Keep going, Bethesda. But I have to accept that there's a player base that loves this and thinks this is awesome. And that is not me, clearly. But also that even with these updates that should speak to my sensibilities, it's not capturing the feel of what I love about Fallout. And I just have to accept that that's it. I got to go back to New Vegas 3, 4.
Yeah, you see this? This is like their gambling system. Didn't New Vegas have animations for gambling, by the way? I'm pretty sure there was at least what, even if they didn't, why doesn't this have? There's just a guy sitting there and being like, I exist here. It's just, you know, this absolute lack of caring also is very sad.
3, 4, like I've been doing a quiet side New Vegas replay as I'm progressing towards this television show relaunch because I want to do some content around New Vegas. And maybe I got a bit of that old school Bethesda bug in me, but even looking at Fallout 1 and 2, where we're trying to do some content around that, I'm just thinking about these games in all these different ways. And one of my favorite things about the Fallout franchise is how each entry does something a little bit different. But then I get to 76 and I realize it's just not hitting anywhere specific on the board. And it's upsetting because I feel, again, this update is exactly what I was asking for. But the fact that exploration, which is the one thing I've always defended 76 on and said, like, hey, this map ain't bad. Like, that's not the problem here. This sense of exploration is better than what Starfield brought to the table. Like, they got something here. The fact that when you bring
come on, dude. Everything's better what Starfield brought to the table. That's just reality.
us to a new location, it almost feels as if that's an afterthought, to the point where we couldn't even get a little localized map for these new locations. Just says to me that this is more of a stopgap piece of content. And the only reason I would say it worries me a bit is we did have that leak for Fallout 76, which showed old Fallout 3 content, like DuPont Circle, I think it was. They had that in 76. And my fear is that they're going to channel a little bit of Fallout 3 energy in 76, and you can't do Fallout 3, which to me is like the pinnacle of video game exploration next to Skyrim. You can't do that in a half-measured way and be like, oh yeah, look, this is the place that you did an expedition in, except now you can roam with it, and there are NPCs here and there, except nothing's really happening. You're just kind of following your waypoints for your quests. That is...
Yeah, that sounds accurate. Fallout 76 just keeps on disappointing. And I understand that there are people that love Fallout 76, unironically, by the way. You know, they play it, and if you're playing it, that's fine. But, you know, you need to understand you're playing shit. You're objectively playing a bad game. The fact that you're bored enough or committed enough that you're playing it doesn't make it an actually good game. And you can say all you want, oh, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. I do. If I was wrong, there would be probably tens of thousands of people playing Fallout 76 currently. Not no one. And not everyone just shitting on the game constantly because it's bad, okay? The reality is, if you were right that Fallout 76 was a good game, there would be people playing it, and people would be saying, oh my god, look at how good that is, that's amazing. But every review you see of Fallout 76, you know, is just, oh, it's bad. Deal with it. It is what it is. Anyway, that was Mr. Ratty Plays. Even the Fallout hardcore, well, Bethesda hardcore fan base cannot deal with Fallout 76. It's honestly amazing. But it's sad because, again, it always feels that this game is just like one small step away from actually being good. So, yeah. Anyway, this was Quizzer Sid saying thanks for watching, subscribe, if you haven't already, and have a nice day. Bye-bye.